We don't do Nike Tech. We don't do coffee. There's straight quarter zips and matchas around here. He was talking about putting on a Nike Tech to come outside. I told him, what are you doing? You upgraded in life. You wear glasses now. You wear quarter zips now. You don't do Nike Tech. We don't do those. Talk to him.
Hey guys, thank you for clicking on this video. I'm Danny, and in this video I want to talk to you about this new quarter zip trend, the drama surrounding it, and whether it's a new form of black dandyism. If you haven't already, please like, share and subscribe. I appreciate your support as always. Now let's get into it. As someone who has taken interest in American culture, I enjoy learning new things more and more. I've also come to realize that there are many people in America, including Americans, who are very much ignorant of a lot of things in American culture and history. When this new quarter zip trend started becoming viral and many young men started hopping on it, I was quite pleased and happy that young men had found something positive they could latch onto. However, for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction, and people started creating drama and think pieces around the trend. The quarter zip movement went viral by Jason GYAMFI, a New Yorker of Ghanaian descent. He started this quarter zip movement as a way to uplift black men and for them to essentially value themselves more and strive for better. Then there are the twins Josh and Peter, who are of Nigerian descent, who made a video using the quarter zip trend. That video also went viral. A lot of people thought that Peter and Josh were the ones who started the trend because of how aesthetically pleasing their videos looked compared to Jason's. They even went as far as to copy Jason's style and tag phrase and another thing while doing quarter zip videos. Also, a lot of people noticed how Josh and Peter were kind of not giving Jason full credit. They did an interview with the New York Times. They said they mentioned his name in the interview, and also they claimed to have reached out to Jason, and they alluded to Jason not responding. When I read comments in their videos and responses to comments that Jason and Peter have made, and so I don't know, it's a bit strange, but people have called out Jason and Peter for not giving Josh and Peter for not giving Jason full credit, letting everyone know that this is his idea or his movement that he started with the quarter zip. Now, since all of these men, Jason, Josh, Peter, who went viral, are of African descent, some black Americans entered the chat to let people know that the quarter zip isn't new. It belongs to Americans. And what is happening with the quarter zip movement is a form of black dandyism.
This new quarter zip trend in the black community is absolutely chef's kiss. Wow. I love it. If you guys have been on TikTok at all recently, you guys have probably seen the revolution of the quarter zip in the black community. They're going from YNs to YGs. I know the CIA is punching in the air, just mad about this trend. For once, we are getting a W in the community. And I do like that it's evolving quickly. They're going from quarter zips and matcha, and now I've already seen full suits and black coffee. I love this. But you know what I really like about this, guys? It's going towards black dandyism. It's gonna hit. These younger guys are going to eventually find out about black dandyism, and it's gonna be game over.
Some black Americans also took issue because they say that James Jeter is supposed to be the one credited for the quarter zip movement, not Jason, based on his collab with Ralph Lauren in July 2025.
This is Peter and Josh Atkins, whom are non-black American, and they're trying to make them the faces of the new quarter zip trend. Original indigenous black American family, there is a new renaissance of delineation circling our wagons to protect our identity, culture, and intellectual property. We have always been a well-groomed, stylish, trend-setting culture. and we will not allow outsiders to place their faces onto our culture.
Since I have a curious mind, it got me interested. Who is James Jeter? What is Black Dandyism? And what does this have to do with young men in 2025 and the quarter zip trend? So I went down the rabbit hole.
Everybody's talking about the new Ralph Lauren campaign, but not enough people are talking about the man behind the campaign. And I think that's really a pivotal part of why people are resonating with this collection so much. James Jeter is one of the clearest examples I have ever seen about how your personal experiences can be translated into deeply meaningful work. The collection centers a very niche, very specific community that is pretty much never talked about, and it nails it. It is so precise and so niche that only somebody with this lived experience would be able to tell this story. So let's talk about James and how he ended up in the position to even tell this story to begin with. He's been working at Ralph Lauren in some capacity since high school, back when they still had the rugby line. He then interned when he was in college and has gone on to have several different roles at Ralph Lauren since. This is him back in 2013. I love that he left these old pictures up, but it is very clear that he has always had a lot of love for the brand, and he followed that through into his career. Now, he studied English at Morehouse. Imagine if he was like, no, I'm just gonna study finance instead. Everybody says English is a waste of a major and it's not gonna make that much money, and maybe I shouldn't do fashion. Imagine if he had all of these thoughts that a lot of students today are dealing with. If he chose what he did based on what other people were doing or what he heard was good and what wasn't good, he never would have gotten in the room to create a collection that is basically his life. When the conversation came up, he was in the room, he was at the table, and he was able to pitch the idea. An idea that literally only he could execute. I guarantee you he was the only one in the room who could have come up with the idea, let alone the follow through to the execution. So this current installment is actually the second part of the original Morehouse and Spellman collection that came out a few years ago. Shortly after, we see him promoted to creative director, I'm sure because this line was so incredibly successful. So finally, circling back to this current installment, it is perfectly on the nose. I can't emphasize that enough. I feel like I've said it a million times. The way he has created an entire collection out of his own life experiences is what I've talked about on my page as your money signature. Your personal stories are valuable. You can translate them into your career and not only be financially successful, but have a very fulfilling career. And when you apply your story to the work that you do, you are not only set apart, but you're able to mold your job around your own experiences because you are bringing that value. Nobody else could have done this line. Because James just did what he liked to do, we now all get to benefit from not only just the clothes, but this story of a very overlooked community finally being told in the mainstream.
Okay, so bear all that in mind about James Jeter. Many Black Americans credit him with reintroducing quarter zips to Black people through his 2025 summer Ralph Lauren collection, which was heavily influenced by Black people in Oak Bluffs. Since his collection drew from Oak Bluffs style, I was curious about how they dressed in the past. Here is a photo showing that in the past, Black people in Oak Bluffs dress with a sense of elegance and pride, blending island wear with formal and preppy styles that reflected their affluence and social status. Now, what is Black Dandyism? Black Dandyism originated in the 18th century as a cultural movement and style that uses fashion, particularly tailored clothing, as a form of self-expression, resistance, and a way to challenge racial and social hierarchies. It involves a strategic and creative use of clothing to assert individuality, dignity, and freedom, and has evolved from its roots in the post-emancipation era through movements like the Harlem Renaissance and into contemporary forms. From learning this, it led me to surmise that Black Dandyism presented itself in Oak Bluffs, and I was right. In Oak Bluffs, there was a form of Black Dandyism which was associated with the rise of the Black elite and a desire for visible status, especially during the early 20th century, as the town became a haven for affluent African Americans. This style, which involves a focus on fashionable dressing and cultural flair, was a way for some in the community to express success and cultural power in a society that often sought to marginalize them. In my research, I came upon this article on travelnewer.com titled, "Where Did Black Dandyism Originate?" The Cultural Geography of a Revolutionary Style, written by Faith Katunga. It was written around the time of the 2025 Met Gala, with the theme being Superfine Tailoring Black Style. The event celebrated the Costume Institute's spring exhibition of the same name, which explores Black dandyism and the influence of style on Black identity. For me, her article shed some light on a significant piece of history, not just Black American history, but that Black dandyism actually stemmed from our African ancestors. She stated that Black dandyism first emerged in Georgian London during the late 1700s, coinciding with the height of the transatlantic slave trade. Initially, this style wasn't a choice, but an imposition. Wealthy white aristocrats dressed their Black servants in elaborate, flamboyant uniforms to display their own status and wealth. These quote-unquote luxury slaves became living symbols of their master's prosperity. Julius Subise, an enslaved Afro-Caribbean man brought to England, is often recognized as one of the first Black dandies. Known for his charm and extravagant style, famously including red heels with diamond buckles, he transformed the dress imposed on him into a bold expression of his own identity. The Black slaves basically added their own flair and style based on where they were from to the quote-unquote fancy uniforms they were forced to wear. The article further states that while the form of Black dandyism originated in Europe, its spirit and aesthetic sensibilities were deeply rooted in West African traditions of adornment and self-preservation. Ghana and Nigeria are West African countries. The vibrant colors, pattern mixing, and emphasis on individual expression that characterize Black dandyism draw directly from West African cultural aesthetics. Katunga also highlighted that the Caribbean played a key role in shaping Black dandyism, as it was a meeting point for European fashion and African aesthetic traditions. The African Caribbean background of Julius Subise reflects how these styles circulated through colonial networks. In this environment of rigid racial hierarchies, free Black people used clothing to push social boundaries, blending influences that later spread across the Atlantic world. Also, to summarize a portion of her article, she said that as Black communities grew in cities like New York, Philadelphia, and Chicago, Black dandyism transformed, becoming closely linked to the intellectual and creative energy of the Harlem Renaissance. Thinkers such as Webb Du Bois used deliberate dress to explore ideas of Black masculinity and cultural pride. Scholar Chantrell P. Lewis notes that modern Black dandies blend vintage influence with contemporary tailoring and African-inspired patterns, creating a style rooted in ancestry yet distinctly present. Across different regions and eras, Black dandyism continues to serve as a creative, often subversive way for people of African descent to express individuality and challenge limiting stereotypes. So now we can see the full picture from Georgian London to the Caribbean, from Oak Bluffs and the Harlem Renaissance. Black dandyism has always been a shared cultural expression across the African diaspora, not owned by any single group or location. Please check the links in my DM for more references to the history of dandyism. In conclusion, based on the history of enslaved Black people being dressed in flamboyant uniforms to give the perception or image of being associated with affluence by their masters, and Black dandyism emerging and spreading to various locations, it is safe to say that Black Americans and Black people living in America of African and Caribbean descent all contributed to what fashion was back then. This brings us back to the debate: should Jason GYAMFI, Josh and Peter, or James Jeter get sole credit for the quarter zip movement? The answer is none of them, and at the same time, all of them. The quarter zip trend of 2025 is not owned by one specific group, nor can it solely be accredited to the work of James Jeter or any single individual. Frankly, it's in all of us. Whether it's Jason's viral call to uplift black men, James Jeter's Ralph Lauren's collection inspired by Oak Bluff's elegance, or Josh and Peter's aesthetic videos, they're all tapping into some ancestral well of black dandyism. It's no surprise that just as our ancestors used fashion and style to display class, elegance, and to express success, the young people of today are merely repeating history. Listen to what Jason says his intention is behind the quarter zip movement.
And another thing, I am the founder of the quarter zip movement, and there are some things I would like to discuss. For one, I will not tolerate hate on another group of black men. This movement that I've created has allowed so many black men to win in so many different ways. The only thing I could do is be grateful, truthfully. Before starting the quarter zip trend / quarter zip movement, I had a smaller following of about 7,000 supporters who interact with my videos every single day. Y'all know who y'all are. Shout out y'all. That being said, starting this movement has grown my platform immensely. But something a lot of my new supporters are failing to realize is that I'm not just about quarter zips. I'm about my faith, my fitness, and just being relatable, feeling like somebody you could talk to on FaceTime, just being in your face, make you laugh, make you feel good, pouring life into you. That's what I'm about. And starting this movement has allowed me to do that for so many people. It starts with quarter zips, but it does not end with quarter zips. The whole point of this trend, throwing on a quarter zip, sipping the matcha as a black man, is to allow black men to feel comfortable in trying new things, expanding your palette, just expanding your horizons of what it is to live this life. Coming from a neighborhood like I do, things like matchas, quarter zips, that's not something that you see on your regular day-to-day basis. But now with this movement, you have black men dressing up, going as far as putting on suits. Some people may have just put on a suit for the first time in their life, or a quarter zip for the first time in their life, and they're thinking like, man, I really look good in this. And that's a beautiful thing to see. The man makes the clothes does not make a man. It was never about clothing. It's more so about pouring into yourself, being the best version of yourself, making sure that every time you leave your house, you feel like you're at 100%. Simple as that. Secondly, for all my people that believe in Christ, look at the message behind this. Things I say like BQZ. When I talk about Jesus loves you, this is all for a reason. But it's a reason that relates to everybody. And that's the beautiful thing about this. That's why I'm the person who spearheaded this. Because at the end of the day, no matter what message I'm trying to relay, you're going to relate to it. If you don't relate to one thing, you may relate to the other thing.
I'm truly happy to see such a trend take off. I am even happier to see men of all ages embracing it and what it stands for. And I hope that the quarter zip movement can continue to permeate the zeitgeist to grow into something even bigger, become more permanent, more impactful, and with tangible results for black men. This was needed, and I can tell by how much happier and relaxed the men seem to be in this movement. As for the drama between Josh, Peter, and Jason, I hope they can all find a way to work together, or for Peter and Josh to take a step back and allow Jason to collect his flowers. Jason cannot grow the movement on his own and will definitely need the support of his fellow men to keep it going. Overall, I love to see it, and there have been some pretty creative skits. I tell you, I've been cackling. Let me know what you guys think about the topic in this video. Do you support Jason only? Are you on the side of Peter or Josh? Or are you on the side of the black Americans who think that James Jeter should get credit for this quarter zip movement? What are your thoughts? Let me know down in the comments. Please like, please share, and subscribe, and let me know your thoughts. Bye. Thank you for watching.